What's up, fight fans? And we are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am your host, Edwin. Sorry for that technical difficulty right there, but let's get this show started. Well, we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of big fights coming up, and we have a lot of controversy in the sport of boxing about what's been going on and the fighters that should be taking these fights. So we're going to touch up on a lot of these stories. As you know, I always break down different things in boxing. So stay with us. This is a boxing TV channel, and I hope you enjoy the show. As always, please, as you come in, give the videos a like. Let me know where you're watching from, what city you're watching from. Let me know. As you come in, you could drop it in the comments, and I will answer any boxing question I can. So without further ado, let's talk about these fights. Well, Jerron Boots Ennis right now is going back, and what it seems like I sent him a contract, he sent me a contract, who is ducking, and it looks like, the wheels are starting to spin, and which is good in the sport of boxing. As we know, there are a lot of these fighters can say a lot of things, and a lot of promises are made. But until I see contracts, negotiations and venues booked for the events, then I'll start taking some of the fights serious, and I will start giving you more updates on that fight in particular. As rumors have it that the PBC had booked out a venue, and for an event that that kind of venue that holds that many people, you would think it would be for a big star that the PBC has, and everybody's assuming that it's already Javante Tank Davis, because let's be honest, he's the only one that can fill that up. There's just not any not off the top of my head. No, there's no one else that can fill that arena up. So, that's why we're all under that impression. So, and then you got Shakur Stevenson with Joe Cordine. A lot of people already, they're pushing back on this fight. Let's stop right there and let's just talk about this one. Look, I admit Shakur Stevenson, his last performances, we can say at least they weren't fan boxing pleasing performances. Let's just stay right there for a second, right? When people buy plane tickets, hotel reservations, fight traffic, even arguments, it was all for the buildup of a night. Either you and your friend, you and your loved ones, whoever, go to this fight, and the entire way there, you're talking your fighter up. For Shakur Stevenson to go out there and put on those kind of performances, hmm, fans are not so eager to fight the traffic. In fact, before the fight or the winner was announced, people were already leaving to fight the traffic. They were content with saying, we think he might have won, or we'll hear about it later. It wasn't exciting enough to stick around. Now, that's not to say that that is not common. For the fact that Bob Arum took shots at Shakur like that, because that's what that was. That was Bob Arum taking shots at Shakur because he knew he was on his way out. And in this business, if I'm your promotional company and I help build you, it's probably going to leave a bad taste in Bob Arum's mouth when he sees that he helped build who you are. Now you're going to try to take your star status that I helped build and walk out, and you think I'm not going to hit you with a jab on the way out. That's what Bob Arum did, because if anybody would have just stopped and think about it for a second, I see that happen almost in every event. Football games, people leave before the fourth quarter ends to beat the traffic all the time, even when the team is winning. Baseball games, basketball games, concerts, you name it. Before the concert's over, there are hundreds of people getting up and leaving. That's common. And for Bob Arum to do that and have the announcer, you got to understand, Bob Arum rented that place. Bob Arum controlled the night. Bob Arum is in co-affiliation with who? ESPN Sports. Who's the announcers work for? Oh, ESPN Sports. What you think was going to happen? Shots fired, right? Okay, so now here we are with the George Cordine fight. And look, I got to be honest. When we talk about our fighters trying to secure these big fights and they're not getting them, the one thing you want to make sure is that the fighter is still active. The fact that he's taking this fight, yeah, he ain't getting the Tank fight. He hasn't got the Loma fight. And apparently, the other Ukrainian fighter, the WBA champion, doesn't want to fight neither. Where's William Cepeda? So when you can't get these big fights for Shakur, then this is how you end up with Joe Cordine. This is how you end up with him. And then all of a sudden, everybody else is saying, you know, oh no, I'm here to make the big fights. Well, there were some pretty big names that were available just in this past month. Tank Davis, Loma, and Shakur Stevenson were all available. Every one of them. Loma said his heart's not into it. He has no motivation. He gets to slide out the back door. Tank just went to the Olympics, went in front of a judge. They gave him permission. He leaves. When Tank Davis left, it seemed like the Shakur Stevenson camp started talking the most. Like he ain't sending an offer. He's the A side. Ba, 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 ba. Same shit. Same shit as always. And I was saying, how the hell is Tank Davis negotiating with him? Isn't he in the Olympics that just finished like less than a week ago? So he has to have come back just, you see? So I'm like, how are you negotiating with Tank? He's over there on a court order. He has XY amount of time. They tell him you're going to go out there for this date and you'll return on this date. That's planned. And if he's on vacation, that's not to go out there. And so I was just like not buying it. I wasn't buying the fact that all that was going out. But when I talk about a fighter, and at least I want to see that fighter still active. Now, this is the hurt business. It is the blood business. Okay. Shakur Stevenson, we know it. Joe might not be that name or superstar we wanted to see Shakur in the ring with. But I tell you what, he goes out there and brutally knocks out Joe here. They'll love him again. They'll love him again. He's got to give the people what they know he is. And I talked about this with a couple of my friends. I was sitting back and I was kicking it. I was saying, man, I think he's going through something more psychological than physical. Because physically, he's fine. He's just not letting his punches go as much. And he's not taking chances. He's not believing in his training. He's not believing. I don't know if it's something with him not being comfortable in the ring. If there's, look, fighters always are hurt. I can't remember ever seeing anyone that I knew of that ever entered the match 100%. So that we know. Sometimes fighters are nursing, a rib injury, nursing a black eye, a head bunt that you can't see, but he just got it like 4 days ago, got a concussion, and in the inner things, he could have tweaked his knee. You can't see that, So fighters are always hiding shit, but for Shakur Stevenson come out after that performance with Edwin De Los Santos, and then all of a sudden come out and say, nah, it was because I was the one-armed bandit. My hand was bit, so I fought the fight. So some people didn't buy it. Some people, look, see, it was because of this. We're still going to back him. Then he goes in there against Armenian, and it's like, wow, you couldn't put him down on 5 weeks' notice? Like, I was like, with 5 weeks of training. So I was like, And in fact, he did box well. Shakur actually boxed well in that. But you would have to be like a boxer or a hardcore fan to appreciate, Shakur's patience, Shakur's mobility, Shakur's angles, Shakur's jab, Shakur's footwork. In order to appreciate the small things in boxing, you would have to have been a hardcore fan. Some fan that paid money that's drunk with his girl, like, yeah, we go watch. Who's it? Shakur Stevenson. He knocking somebody out and go and watch that. And you're like, mm, you could lose fans like that. So we're in the hurt business, you know, and you got to get out there. If you're claiming to be the best, right? And better than everybody else, it's hard to argue when Tank Davis is going out there knocking his opponents out back to back to back to back. He's getting better at it. But you're saying, "Oh no, I'll beat him." No, because I don't get hit as much against that level of competition. That's not Tank Davis. They're not as quick as Tank is. Tank got real speed, real power. And to compare what Shakur's been doing and making these guys miss and not hit them, good for him. But that's that level of competition. That's not top-notch competition. As you could see when they gave him some version of competition and Edwin De Los Santos, what the fuck happened? Meaning, okay, listen, I'm gonna put this up to you guys, right? And I don't got your chats up, so unfortunately, I haven't been seeing you guys. Let me put your chats up. I'm sorry about that. What's up, everybody? I see you all night, all of you now. Bam, how you doing? Armando, how you doing in the building? What's up, Frontline? Hey, so um, just catching up to a couple of your messages real quick. Y'all tripping. What's up, Jonathan? How you doing? All right, guys. So that's what's up. Let's throw this up. October 13th. What? You just heard that Naoya Inoue is gonna fight October 13th after this September 3rd date. That would be September. Are you crazy? He would never make that date. He would have to fight in December. November, late November would be probably the latest after this right here. So this is September 3rd, basically 3 days into September. You still got the full month. So basically, you could say he fought at the end of August, like that. You could think because all of September, there's no way he would fight in October. I couldn't see that happening. No, Naoya, what it is? Oh, I got it. I got it. Naoya Inoue's kid brother is fighting in October 13th. That's what it is. Yeah, I saw that fight. Matter of fact, the way I saw that, Naoya Inoue posted it on X that his little brother got that fight. I couldn't pronounce the guy's name correctly. I don't want to trash it, right? I'm bad with the um the Japanese pronunciation. I'm getting better at it. And yeah, so his kid brother is fighting in October. Yeah. Yeah. So that's gonna be that'll be the third defense of Takuma Inoue's world WBA world title at 118. A lot of us are anticipating that Junto Nakatoni is gonna fight him to unify because eventually that's what's gonna happen. And then you see, because now make no mistake, Junto Nakatoni is a Japanese fighter, but he trains out here in the West. And we're like the Westerns to the West, to Japan. So he trains out here and he's getting like more like the American slick style training. But make no mistake, he represents Japan. And he's gonna end up fighting Naoya Inoue's kid brother. And then if he beats him, that's where I think that fight would be more of that magnitude, right? And if he shall meet with Naoya Inoue, I'm not sure if he's gonna meet him because he's got some work to do. Junto Nakatoni, he's got good height, so I don't know if it's the weight. He might pack on the pounds and might hop over a division or so, because that's what I think he would have to do. He would have to give hop one past one weight division just to try to like catch Naoya Inoue's train, because most of the world right now is waiting for the announcement after this fight with Tj Doheny. Let's talk about it. Naoya Inoue and Tj Doheny, they're set to square off September 3rd, right? And I like to bring up the facts, because there are a lot of scrutiny being thrown around about the opponent Tj Doheny for Naoya Inoue, in which a lot of people are like not too happy with this opponent. And this is how we got here. Let's rewind the tape, right? By the way, let's get these likes up, please. Let's get these likes up. So, what happened was, as soon as Naoya Inoue defeated Luis Pantera Nari, Sam Goodman jumps in the ring. Sam Goodman took step aside money once upon a time in the past to allow them to fight. Now that he's back, he say he's been the number one contender for 2 belts, right? And he told Naoya Inoue to either vacate the belts or fight him. Now, it sounded good when he was in the ring challenges Naoya Inoue, but then as the clues started to unfold and everything started to present itself, there was a different picture being presented. No sooner that he gets out of the ring, he's contacted Naoya Inoue's team and told them he can't take the fight. He then takes a tune-up fight, which after the fight, he didn't fare so well against this guy, by the way. And taking this fight for that opponent that was ranked 122 or something like that, it didn't make any sense. After the fight, he reports his hands are broken. We'll get back to that in a second. What does this mean for Naoya Inoue? I'll tell you. Well, this means that Naoya Inoue had a schedule. He was going to fight somebody September 3rd. It was supposed to be Sam Goodman. He pulls out. When he pulled out, Naoya Inoue's schedule opened up. He had already beat 2 undisputed champions and the number 1 contender for the WBC. So many people feel like, and I'm in agreement, that they kind of like pushed up Tj Doheny in the WBA ranking to give him that number 2 spot. But if you got to be honest with yourself, in the WBA ranking, there's nobody really there. So he can make a good argument for that spot. And being the fact that Tj Doheny is coming off his 3 last victories back to back, where? In Japan. He fought 3 fights in Japan. His last 3 fights, Tj Doheny. So the crowd and the people know him. So as far as a name and marketing and the familiarity of the Japan people seeing Tj Doheny fight over there, it would have been a better fight for Naoya Inoue versus a guy no one else knew. And MJ was reported to someone or somewhat want the fight. All of a sudden, MJ screaming he wants this fight, but you can't get the biggest fight, the lottery fight of your weight division. You can't lock in a deal for 4 belts? Why is your manager asking for so much? Why are so many demands? If you truly want this fight, look, this is what this kind of fight means. When Tj Doheny stepped up, he saved the day. Had it not been from him, who else steps up? Who else would you like to step up to have fought Naoya Inoue? Don't even say Stephen Kubo Fulton, because as we can see, he's been scheduled on 3 fight cards. He was scheduled on the New York fight card. Remember that? June 8th. Stephen Kubo Fulton was rumored to be on those fight cards. They even had his name on the card. I don't, his opponent pulled out. Who pulled out? He's been on 3. Yo, his next fight card that he's on, Stephen Kubo Fulton, is on the Saul Canelo Alvarez Edgar Berlanga card, September 14th. Wait a minute. September 14th. Naoya Inoue is fighting September 3rd. There's your get back. He don't want that smoke. He don't want that smoke. He don't want a shot at his 2 belts. In fact, not just 2 belts, 4 belts. Now, let's just think about this. Tj Doheny, what has he done in his career? Is he going to the Hall of Fame? Probably not. Probably not. Right? He mess around and win this fight, where you think he's going. And if you don't think you'll go to the Hall of Fame for 4 belts, there's people in the Hall of Fame with 2 belts, bro, with 2 weight divisions. They fought great. They got good records. They did some good shit. You get 4 belts in any era where that you're the king of the division. See, in the 122, there's only one king. That's Naoya Inoue. There's no other king. There's no other champion. It's only him. That's dominance. For a man to go out, do all the hard work for you, collect every belt 1 by 1, 2 by 2, however he got them. You get a phone call that you can change your stars, your family name. Tj Doheny beats this Japan superstar Naoya Inoue, the monster. He mess around and beats him. Yo, he'll change his stars, man. And they might name streets after him. Luis Pantera Nari knocked him down in his last fight against the monster Naoya Inoue. And some people thought it was a fluke, but not the Mexicans. Ask them. Did they think that was a fluke? Bro, they basically gave him a parade for losing, but for knocking him down. There are some people in the world that will live in the moment, but not acknowledge the outcome. Okay, well, what was the outcome of the fight? He got brutally knocked out. Oh, in fact, the way he got knocked out, he's getting put in a film reel next to several other fight knockouts, and they're going to judge them for knockout of the year. He's putting them on a monitor where people are eating dinner, watching your head snap back. That's what he did for you. You knocked him down, but that knockout has the ability to ring on, because what if it gets knockout of the year award? Like, they give him the award for that knockout. You're done, son. You're done. He put you on a board. Yo, you're done. So when I knew they were going to pick the next fighter after him going down for the first time in his entire career, amateur and pro included, right? I knew he was going to beat the shit out of whoever got in the ring with him next. And I think that most guys knew that the monster, see, because that cloak of invincibility was kind of lifted the moment he hit the ground. Because now guys were like, he was so dominant. He has 22 world consecutive fights in a row. There's been no fighter in history to ever do that. 22 consecutive world title fights back to back till right now. His last 10 fights now, I think it is, have like his last 10 fights have been like this, right? His last fight was for 4 belts against Luis Pantera Nari. The Marlon Tapales fight was for 4 belts, right? Um, the Stephen Kubo Fulton was for 2 belts. The fight after that was against Paul Butler for 4 belts. The fight after that was for 3 belts. The fight after that was for 2 belts. You see, it was he's been fighting for 2 belts or better for like 9 fights in a row now. It's it's crazy what he's doing. The fact that he unified all 4 belts in 2 separate weight divisions, but it was just the way he did it. Now, it took him 2 years and a few months to unify all 4 belts at 118, and that was going through a corona epidemic. We were going through the corona epidemic, so he had like 2 messed up years where people didn't want to fight him. He, in fact, came to the United States, had those schedules, and had a fight in front of an empty crowd. There was no crowd. You know, it was just, remember they had like the walls and stuff with the pictures on it and the cameras, and you would stand away and would put the mask on you type thing. And they interviewed him after he fought Jamie Maloney. And so Naoya Inoue really, like, he didn't really get like that star status coming out to United States. And in fact, a lot of people didn't even know he fought out here. He didn't even know because of the statement that Floyd Mayweather had made. But when you get an opportunity like this, and like Naoya Inoue, the way he was doing it, he unified the first one in the corona epidemic, but it was the way he unified all 4 belts at 122. Now that was incredible, right? This is what the man did. He was at 118. He just secured all 4 belts with Paul Butler. 30 days. 30 days. From the moment he won those belts, he vacated all 4 belts. And he entered the paperwork to fight the WBO champion, which in fact was Stephen Kubo Fulton. He had the WBO and the WBC. Now, this is important because if Stephen Kubo Fulton at 122 pounds was considered to be the best 122-pound champion. Out of all the champions, which was at the time, there was 3 of them. Stephen had 2. MJ had 1 at the time. He hadn't lost to Tapales yet, I don't think, during this time. Tapales and him was scheduled to fight, right? And then who else was it? Yeah, Martin Tapales and MJ, right? Okay. So at the time when Naoya Inoue vacated the belt, he challenged Stephen Kubo Fulton, and he was the best 122 pounder in the world. That being said, he was jumping up from one weight division to the next weight division, which they didn't think that this 5'5", 118-pound guy was going to come up and challenge the best American 122 pounder in the world. He was also undefeated, and he had 2 belts. Nobody's ever beat. He's the best one. Now, when you're moving up to another weight division, you usually want to take what we call a tune-up fight in between to get yourself acclimated to the division so that you're more familiar of moving in that division in your much newer weight. It's not as easy as it sounds, right? This man went and said, I don't want a tune-up fight. I don't fight weak fights. They said, what do you want to do? He said, I want the best 122-pound champion you have. Tell him I'm coming. Tell him I'm coming. He had so much confidence in what he was going to do, and he knew who he is as a champion, that he didn't do that holding the belts ransom like some champions do. No. They said, Naoya Inoue, you don't have to give up all 4 of your belts just in case you move up. If Stephen Kubo Fulton beats you, you still got all 4 belts at 118, right? Naoya Inoue said, what are you talking about? I ain't losing shit, and I don't need to hold up the division. I understand what it's like to want a shot at a world title. I'm getting rid of all 4 belts, and I'm going that way. And I'm going to beat up Stephen Kubo Fulton, and I'm going to become the new champion. How long did Terrence Crawford hold on to those belts at 147? How long did Devin Haney hold on to those belts at 135? Devin Haney still had titles at 135 when he just beat Regis Progress at 140. Terrence Crawford didn't vacate the remaining ones that he weren't stripped from until he beat Ishmael on 154. Naoya Inoue, 30 days from the moment he made a decision. You know what? He's probably sitting in his living room. You know what? I'm moving up. What do you want to do, Naoya? You know what? Give me the best 122 pounder in the world. Make sure he is undefeated and he has multiple world titles. And tell him I'm coming. That's what I want to do. And I'm not holding up the division. Get rid of the belts. You don't have to do that. I said get rid of them. I'm going to go get some new belts. That's a man that knows who he is. I joke around about that. But that was some ballsy shit right there. Everything was on the line. There was no looking back for him. That speaks louder than words what he did. And some people just want to sweep it under the rug. Like that wasn't championship decision-making shit right there. He put more pressure on himself by vacating those belts and not having that safety net of saying, win, lose, or draw, I can always go back to my 4 belts. And let's play it safe. That's not what this man is doing. There is no playing it safe. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can respect that. Then he goes on and beats him, fight contestants for the other 2 belts. And this is what I wanted to bring up, was the fact that the way he did it, he unified all 4 belts within 6 months. You heard that correctly. Not 6 years, 6 months. From the time he knocked out Stephen Kubo Fulton, right? He knocked him out in June. From June to December, he fought Martin Tapales in December. He unified all 4 belts. Within 6 months, he had all 4 belts. Entering a new weight division when he just had all 4 belts in the last weight division. Within 6 months, he declared himself as king in the 122-pound weight division. There are no other champions there. There's only one champion, but there's 4 belts. Shit, there's 4. There can be 4 champions in every weight division. But not in Naoya Inoue's weight division. He's a greedy little champion. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. And he don't like sharing.
What did he say?
He don't like sharing. You know what I mean?
A few moments later.
Listen, I gotta tell you guys this, right? If there was any fighter right now that I would be paying close attention if I didn't know anything about him, and I heard a lot of buzz about a 5'5" Japanese superstar that's really like impressively knocking people out. When I watch his fights, I quickly see I'm impressed. And I'm not easily impressed because I'm an American, man. I've seen all kinds of fights. I've seen people get knocked out every which way. I'm not easily impressed by skills. I came up in an era where I actually got to see the tail ends of like Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvelous Hagler and Hitman Hearns and Roberto Duran, and that slowly went into like the Felix Trinidads and the Hector Camachos was during the Sugar Ray time too. I saw like the tail end of that, but and then I saw like the Mike Tysons of my time, the Roy Jones Jr., the Floyd Mayweather, the Zab Judas, all of them great. The Sweet Pea Pernell Whitaker, the Julio Cesar Chavez, and I mean the list just goes on. So I'm spoiled as a boxer, as a boxing fan. I've seen like all the greats, and if I and in this day and era, if I wasn't born in your time, guess what? YouTube it. Whoop. Oh, just saw the fight. Bam, I'm caught up. Well, technology is beautiful, right? So, like, I've watched countless of thousands and thousands of fights. And every time I watch this Japanese dude, man, like it's for me, it's the situations how he approaches the game. He fights a lot of different styles, unorthodox guys, lefties, righties, fast guys. Stephen Kubo Fulton was supposed to be quicker than him. He was supposed to have a better defense with the Philly shell defense that was going to give the Japanese superstar a problem. He was whooping his ass so bad that he Stephen Kubo Fulton got out of the Philly shell defense and Naoya Inoue went into it. He started doing his own Philly against them. So it really speaks to how, superior as a fighter. Like he adopts to a lot of things. There's no Superman, and he does have some things he needs to work on, as we can see when he got dropped against Luis Pantera Nari. Yeah, all fighters, you're in a fight, you're gonna get hit. And the one thing about Naoya Inoue, he's fan pleasing. I guarantee you, when you watch him fight, you're gonna get that oh shit moment, that oh wow moment that's gonna lift you out of your seat. You're gonna jump up, you're gonna be like, oh shit, because you're gonna see something like slick, and it's gonna be powerful and brutal at the same time. And then somehow, in between all that violence, you're gonna see the beauty in it. And you're gonna be like, man, that was beautiful. That knockout with Tank Davis and Frank the Ghost Martin, the way he put him, boop, sit down. Yo, it was nice. Yo, that was nice. And Naoya Inoue did it with one hand. He did it with the same hand. That's what made his so nice. Like when Luis Pantera Nari was up against the rope, Inoue hit him with the same hand. And like unlike Tank, right? You could see Tank, like really like get into the punch like that, right? Um, but in a way, it was just like it looked so natural. He went legitimately. He went go watch it, just like that. He went like that in one motion. It was incredible. And the way his neck snapped back, that you saw the power in the punch. You could see it. His neck violently snapped back, like bang, bang, like that. You know, um, you know, yeah, that was impressive because he's proving to the world with good technique, proper form, and the way you throw your punch, you don't gotta cock back like this to generate power. You don't have to be walking into the punch, anything. He's mastered technique. And when you see that, it proves that it's in the technique, the way he hits him. Some people can quickly look over Naoya Inoue's knockout and only see the brutal nature in them. But I see much more. I even see when he's knocking someone out and he's even giving them a break. Like he doesn't want to really hurt the person, but he wants to knock them out, right? For instance, all that shit that Stephen Kubo Fulton talked about Naoya Inoue's hand wraps in Japan. If you're not familiar or what happened or you heard something about it, it's because in Japan rules are basically the same rules in Las Vegas. In Vegas, you can put tape on skin, and you could put a sensitive tape there and kind of like that way your wrist don't snap back, right? And people say, "Oh, that's cheating because your hand's not going to snap back like that," right? So in Japan, you could put tape on skin. So Stephen Kubo Fulton's team accused him of having loaded hand wraps because where they're from, that's illegal. You got to put gauze first, then the tape on the gauze. That way it doesn't make that harder and it's more flexible, right? So Naoya Inoue agreed to it, which in fact he didn't have to. If he wanted to, he can go, he was within his rights. He did sign the contract. And when he already signed the contract, he gets out there, then he makes up this stink about it. When legally, he didn't really have a leg to stand on, Stephen Kubo Fulton, in like a real argument. You could bring it up, but Naoya Inoue didn't have to accept that. I just want the world to know this. If Naoya Inoue was like, nah, I don't have to go with your rules. These are Japan rules. You agreed to the fight. What are you going to pull out of all the millions? And everybody that bought, go ahead, go pull out of this if you want to. Your career is done, right? So that's not going to happen. So Naoya Inoue could have looked him in the face, called his bluff, and said, no, I'm putting tape. There was nothing Stephen Kubo Fulton could have did. It was the day of the fight. The next day was the fight. That's when he brought it up. So now by Naoya Inoue telling him, yo, here, tell me how you guys want it. They wrapped it that way with and Stephen Kubo Fulton team signed off on it. They were in an agreement. And this goes to show you when they're talking all this smack about Naoya Inoue, when you want to know your facts, come here, right? Because according to a lot of the people, loaded hand wraps, steroid testing. What you mean steroid testing? Where did that come from? You know where that came from? From the very famous and very popular Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather knows that he's such a staple in boxing. When he says something, it's basically like, but you see, the one thing is that Floyd, you could have said a lot of things about Floyd. You could talk about Floyd's kids. You could talk about his mom. You could talk about his dad. You could talk about anything you wanted. And Floyd would just talk shit back to you. But the one thing Floyd would fucking gouge your eyes out for was talking about his legacy, his championship run, his body of work, what it took him a lifetime to achieve. Don't try to say that Floyd Mayweather was doing steroids according to Floyd Mayweather, because he says I was cleaning up the sport. According to him, however you want to feel it. But my point is, he didn't play that when you came after his body of work, right? So why would you do that to another man? Naoya Inoue is a decorated champion in your sport, Floyd, and you would shit on him and try to tarnish his legacy? Why? Because when it's all said and done for him, I don't even have to say quiet as kept, because there's no secret. He's already passed Floyd in accomplishments. He just hasn't fought more world champions than Floyd yet. Which in fact, that's the only thing Floyd's going to have him on in the 50-0. The Japanese superstar can't catch him in the 50-0. He can retire undefeated. It's just not going to be 50-0. Because if you do the math, the Japanese superstar, Naoya Inoue, what is he, 31? 30, 31, right? Even if he's 30, he has 5 years. 5 years, even if he fights 3 times a year with 27 only fights, he's going to need an additional 23 fights to catch 50 fights. He's going to fight 23 more times. That's more than 95% of what he got completed right now, with only having 27 fights now in his entire professional career. You think he could, at the tail end of his career, knock off 23 more fights? It's not going to happen. And until present day, he's fought, I believe, 13 world champions. If Mayweather fought 23 world champions, he would need another 10 world champions to fight him before he retires. And mind you, that's 10 other fights. So you're going to get 10 world champions to line up and fight him back to back to catch Mayweather's. So he's not going to catch him there. But as far as what he did in his championship run, he's beat Mayweather as in the dominance of the division he was in, meaning the most Mayweather ever did in one division, he got 3 belts in a 4-belt era. He got 3 belts, right? Okay. So he never unified undisputed. He never undisputed status, Floyd. So he's undisputed, right? In 2 separate weight divisions. So when it comes to those kind of belts and the dominance in your division, where you can say you beat the best, that's what that says. What it's saying for Floyd is, if you didn't unify undisputed status, there were still men out there that were champions. You didn't wipe down the whole division. So there's an argument to say you weren't completely the best. There's no argument in Naoya Inoue's last 2 weight divisions. He's took all the belts. So as in regards of that kind of championship, he's surpassed Floyd, right? Okay. Here's the problem. The 50-0 is not an award. There's no award for retiring 50-0. You see what I'm saying? In the history books, fighting the most world champions is going to be acknowledged. It's going to be acknowledged. That's part of boxing, fighting world champions. 50-0, nah, not that's a personal thing. You could retire 80-0. Okay, that you retired 80-0, but that's it's not there like the award is coming out. Oh, he retired 80-0. Like, no, there's nothing for that. That's just a personal thing. They can make you an award for that, but yeah, that's no, that's not a stat. You know what I mean? So, the way that Naoya Inoue can really he could separate himself from Floyd, really, really far away. And what Floyd is doing by saying the steroid shit on Naoya Inoue is to try to discredit him for that he doesn't pick up steam and he quietly kind of like drifts away. And because of the fact that Floyd's always going to use that he was a smaller guy in a smaller weight division, and he still always wants the status as king, which in fact, even when the Japan superstar retires, Floyd is going to retire as king because he's already digged in too much in America. And that's the key word, America. The monster's Japanese. So even when he retires with these prestigious awards, Floyd will probably keep his status for a little bit while. He still don't want to give it to his own fighters. He's at Camille Moulton's freaking fight. Like, I'm the greatest. I'm the best. Like, damn, this is Camille Moulton's time. Let him shine, Floyd. Like, no, not Floyd. Floyd will, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, man. So, I see Floyd like that. Like, he still likes the lamp life. You could see it. Fighting the fucking Gotti kid there, the third, that which is coming up, just proves fighters don't like to walk away. Yo, because when it's over, it's over. The ring walk, the crowd, the lights, the build-up, the shorts, everything can be an addiction to someone. And to a fighter like Floyd, that is his crack. Boxing, that is his freaking drug that he shoots up. It's boxing. He's addicted to fighting. to boxing. He's addicted to knowing that when he walks in the room, he can kick ass. And as he's getting older, people are questioning him. With the young fighters now walking around, Terrence Crawford, Jerron Boots Ennis, Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson's, even Devin Haney's walking in and under the brothers, right? And Floyd still just wants to prove to the young lions, yo, I still got one good one left in me. You know what I'm saying? Don't mess around and let it be you. I got to use that on. All right? Because when I woke up this morning, I knew I still had one good one in me. I just didn't know it was going to be yo punk ass. That I was going to have to give it to. But now that you're here, Floyd is waiting for that one. You know what I mean? Because an old lion never wants to give up the throne, especially when he doesn't even see himself. I repeat that. An old lion does not want to give up the throne, especially when he does not see himself. You see, Floyd's standards for Floyd is humble, cocky, arrogant, all at the same time. We know this, right? But his humble ability comes from giving praises to fighters. He will do that. Floyd would say, oh no, he's a great fighter. He's a good fighter. He's got a good jab. He'll start to point out things for the fighter. Floyd is famous for that, but his ego, the real cocky, flamboyant Floyd, when he's in the gym, there's nobody better than him. Nobody meets up to his standards in his head. Nobody thinks like him. Nobody acts like him in the ring. Nobody. And that's exactly what Floyd prides himself on. As you're getting older, you notice you lose a step and the lights are about to turn off, Floyd. Not too much longer where you're going to be able to pull off these gimme fights. And it's cool that he's doing it. Some people don't like it. I love it. I love it. Get your money, bro. You built your name, Floyd. If you can make $9 million in a fucking exhibition fight, bro, who am I to tell you to stop? Do you, bro? I'm happy for you, Floyd. I'm truly happy because you know what that means? That you were a dominant champion. And thank you for your contribution. No matter how people view Floyd, you got to admit, he kept boxing up. Had it not been for men like that kept boxing up, that kept the anticipation with the Manny Pacquiao fight, look at all the fights Floyd Mayweather brought to us. Whether you loved or hate him, look at it. Look at all the controversy. If he got you saying, nah, Floyd sucks, then you know his name. Then you know his mother. He did his job. And I got to respect him for that. That's why I keep my legends up. We always talk about our greats, our legends in this sport. Some are on my wall because whether you like them, they're not on my wall because they're my favorite or whatever. No, they're on my wall because they're staples for the sport. They truly gave back. When there was nothing else to watch, some of these men and women are the ones that kept it alive. Had it not been for men like Muhammad Ali, Floyd does not become the man he became. Had he not paid the way. And that's paying homage to fighters. That's all I do. I know warrior shit. I like warrior shit. This is why I talk about this, because my passion. Because there's very few days I don't think about fighting. I used to think I was broken. I used to think there was something wrong with me until I understood me. I understood why I think like that. And I embraced it. I understood who I am. I'm a fighter. It's what I like to do. It's what I like to figure out. I like to know more. I ask the question all the time. This is why I made this show. I ask myself all the time, are you the one Who is the best fighter in the world and where does he come from? That's what I want to see. And when I'm watching a fighter such as skilled as Naoya Inoue, I got to admit, my man is nice. Yo, everything he does, you know what's incredible? The one great thing I think about him, because he doesn't do, right, like real spectacular footwork shit or mobility that you're like, wow, like, nah. He keeps it simple, basic, and sharp, real sharp. That's him in a nutshell, right? But he's got gifts. He got talent. He got gifts. His speed and his power where he was born with. His decision making for throwing punches is really high up there. But the two things that are extremely remarkable about Naoya in a way is his timing and placement. I think those are the most dangerous things about him. If you can have the kind of timing he has, and he's always in the right position. Even when he's fucking throwing a 4-piece running combination at Stephen Kubo Fulton, he still landed in the right position. He's like a cat. You throw it and they land on their feet. He's like that, right? I'm like, man, he's really like good when it comes to understanding that, okay, basic boxing 101 is you only got two hands, right? And if you fluctuate this way, this is only other one way you're going to come. With this hand, that's it. You got to understand this concept and split second timing, right? And that's where your reads and you pick up with more fights, more training. You start to like, it becomes second nature to you. Sometimes you throw a punch that in reality, you didn't even like your body threw it. It's weird. It's like your body reacted. Like I've had this shit happen to me where I thought the person was gonna like, come on an attack, but I was saying to myself, they're not that stupid. And they did. And my hand just snapped them. It did it by itself. It went like that, quick. And I was like, oh, right. In the moment, I kept the emotion going. It's not like I really went, oh, right. I was like, bow, back up. Like what? Like, bye, bye. But when I got home, I thought about it and I was like, man, I didn't even think about hitting him. It just did it. That's well training. That's your body starting to understand fighting. And that's where you have to always train. You always got to stay in the gym. You always got to maintain that level of discipline. And when you take time off, that's when your timing is off. You might come back and think that you're in shape, but you're not in fighting shape. So it's important to keep that, that timing like that. Elwin had a Frank Martin experience. What reaction? What? Oh, oh yeah. With Floyd, listen, it is no secret. He tried to keep it a secret because he was embarrassed by it, but Floyd can't read or write. He can't read or write. But you know what? Who gives a fuck? I'll pay somebody to read that book for me. Stand right there and read everything and translate it back. Yeah, I'm rich enough to do that shit. How about that? I don't gotta know how to read or write. I got a lawyer right here, an accountant, and this bitch right here. She take care of everything. All right, yo. But yeah, 50 got on him about that, about reading the Dr. Seuss Hat and the Cat, that he would pay him so much money if he could read it, but he couldn't read. He couldn't read, but that wasn't Floyd's genius. Floyd wasn't book smart. Floyd was a genius in the art of boxing. That's where Floyd's genius was. You see, you don't have to be a book genius to be considered a genius. No, but make no mistake, Floyd was a genius. He's better at boxing than fucking some of these scholars and and colleges for nuclear fucking bombs and shit. He's better at boxing than them guys at that shit. Floyd was, you gotta admit, for a man to change his style late in the game like that was pretty hard to do because Floyd was in a forward pressure, speed, hard puncher in the first half of his career. He was a beast. He was a knockout artist. Then when he broke his hands so many times, you know, he saw that it wasn't going to be profitable for him to continue like that. He went to Japan, had that surgery, took the 2 years off, came back, and after the Marquez fight, he changed his entire fight strategy. He was no more going forward, aggression, punching hard. He was elusive, evading, working off the jab and beating you by speed and footwork. He changed his whole style. Like Floyd in the beginning, watch Floyd in the beginning. He was a fucking monster. Yeah, he was bashing people. They didn't want to put nobody in the ring with him. When they saw what he did to Edward Hernandez, yo, nobody did that to Hernandez at 130. Nobody, man. Yo, Floyd went in there at 19 years old and beat the shit out of him, I think. Was he 19 at the time? He was like 19, 20, some shit like that. He was young as shit when he won that belt. And then from the moment Floyd Mayweather won that world title, pretty much every fight after that was a world title fight. The problem with Floyd Mayweather's gap is when he moved up to different weight divisions, he didn't fight the champion. He fought like a regular guy to get acclimated to the division because that was recommended by most camps. It's not like everybody thought, no, fight a champion right away because this is what you're going to want to do. The Japanese dude really showed that it could be done. You know, it's not recommended in boxing to always fight a tough fight after a tough fight after the best after the best. Your career is not going to go far. You're coming out of one war, going into a possible another war, and then into a man. Listen, you can only fight the best every so often. Fight one of the top guys, take one or two mediocre fights, and then fight another top guy and give it like the build up. But you don't want to fucking, I'm pretty sure you don't want to go after, like in this day and era, right? And back in this time, you're going to go through Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvelous Hagler, Hitman Hearns. Come on, man. You don't want to do that. You don't want to go through today. Like, you're not going to go through Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis, Lomachenko, Teal, whatever. You're not going to want to do that. So, yeah, it's not gonna be profitable. But the Japanese dude is doing exactly that. He's legitimately doing that. He was fighting all the guys in his divisions or in the adjacent weight division. And if he was to move up, he has 4 weight divisions, mind you. He has 4 weight divisions. So that's not easy to do. Just think about this, right? How many fights does Terrence Crawford have right now? 41. What does Terrence Crawford have? Saul Canelo Alvarez has what? 60, 61 plus fights. Saul Canelo Alvarez, right? Okay. And how many weight divisions does Saul Canelo Alvarez have? It's 3 weight divisions, right? Is it 3? I think it's 3. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's 4. My point is, Terrence Crawford has 40 plus fights. He just became a 4-division world champion when he beat Ismail at the 154-pound weight division, right? Okay. Naoya Inoue already has 4 weight divisions. He was waiting for Terrence Crawford to catch up. Naoya Inoue is actually taking his time in this one, and what he's using are all the top guys to stall so that he can move up to 126 properly. That's what he's doing. He's truly doing video game shit. He really is. Who does that? Oh yeah, yeah. I want to move up to 126, but before I move up to 126, let me beat two world champions, undisputed champions, right? Right? Unified, unified champions, not undisputed, unified, right? Unified world champions, which mean they had two belts apiece. And then let me fight the number one guy for the next belt, the WBC. Those are his three fights. So I'm like, shit, you can't ignore that. Like, who's doing that right now? For instance, you know, Terrence Crawford beat Errol Spence Jr., but since Errol Spence Jr., he didn't defend those belts at 147 not one time. He went right to 154 a year later. And that was his next fight. Naoya Inoue is scheduled, he already had 3 fights in, and he's scheduled on his 4th fight. And Terrence Crawford is just finishing up his last fight. So truly, truly, Naoya Inoue, it seems like he has to do double the work to get recognized here. It seems like that for me anyway. A lot of things that they're saying about him are just simply not true. They're not. He's not. Listen, he's never been popped or caught for steroids in his entire life. And the ironic thing is that they have footage of him when he was like 8, 9 years old, knocking people out, knocking other little kids out. He's been that powerful his entire life. His entire career, he's been that powerful, that fast, that skilled. And all of a sudden, it takes one person to accuse him of steroids, and all of a sudden, you want to try to tarnish this man's legacy? No. His legacy is like, don't mess with that, bro. That's your life's work. That's like some scientist giving 30 years you know, to his craft. That's all his life's work. Don't mess with my life's work, right? And everything they're saying about him is lies. And then when they called him a hype job, leading into the Stephen Kubo 14 fight, I think that was like one of the biggest fights where they were like really trying to like get on this dude. But you can do an eye test. And if you're watching this channel right now, I think you're a pretty smart person. You know what I mean? So listen, right? And and I think that you can tell. Your eye test is gonna be able to tell you what you're looking at, right? And when they tell you, oh, this dude's a hype job, he ain't shit, he ain't that. Go watch his highlights and tell me what you think. Tell me what you're seeing with your own two eyes, but what they're telling you, right? And it's not matching up. It's not adding up either, right? You know, there has been cases, I admit, in boxing where some people have been talked up, hyped up, moved up, etc. Yeah, it happens all the time. This is also, I always tell you guys this. This is boxing is a sport. Uh Boxing is a business disguised as a sport. That's what it is. Boxing is a business disguised as a sport. So when you're seeing these things, like, yeah, like sometimes these things are so. But I just think just because you think about Bob Arum and Top Rank and some of the shady things that they've done in the past, you're already going to attach what they've done in the past to this kind of fighter and assume, oh, who's he fight for? Top Rank, Bob Arum? Oh, he's a hype job. You know how Bob Arum, Top Rank, and all ESPN do. And it's easy to try to make that correlate. But what happened was they fucked around and got a real one. That's all that happened. They messed around and got a real one. And all the, their little tricks of trying to hype. And now I know it was telling them. Yeah, you can use me and try to bring me up all you want, but I'm gonna use you too because when I get up there, it's gonna be too late. I'm gonna beat all of you guys. And once you started to push, you're not he now he's picking fights and shit. And yeah, man, like the cat's out of the bag. He's a mega superstar in Japan. Bro, if they can open up that Tokyo arena and he can sell that shit out, that shit fits 55,000 people. I'm not sure if he got the full 55,000, but it was rumored over 50,000 people showed up. Easy, hands down. So yeah. Salute to everybody out there in the chat family. How you guys doing out there? Yo. He owns that trademark. 50's wild for that. Yo, but I mean this business is dirty, you know what I'm saying? It's a dog eat dog business, guys. Boxing, there are a lot of things you could do in boxing. You can't really do anywhere else, right? In no other sport. But at the end of the day, boxing is one of where, you know, it allows you, and rather than us like killing ourselves in coliseums with swords and shields, I guess this is the best way you can describe or put your skills. And it's really up to somebody's interpretation whether or not you feel that you should utilize your entire body, or you're on more on the line that we should stand like two men and let's duke it out. No grabbing me, no trying to kick me and shit and gouge my eyes out. Like two men, let's handle our business, see who the best is at the stand up. And throughout the years, it was always questioned whether MMA or boxing or which one was more dominant. It was soon the MMA guys went back to where they were. None of them have ever stayed in boxing that long because they realize how hard boxing is and how hard MMA is. There have been many boxers that have made the transition to MMA, but there hasn't really been a fighter from MMA with star status that came and stood. Even in fact, Francis Ngannou is scheduled to fight next in an MMA fight coming up soon. So he's going back to mixed martial art after being brutally stretched out by AJ, and like AJ sent him to the shadow realm with that punch. Boom. Yo, he laid him out. It was crazy. That was a brutal knockout. And you can't play boxing. You can't play boxing. You might have had success against one type of style, and but when put in a lot of boxing situations, Joshua knew, his coaches and the team knew he wasn't going to know how to act to simple boxing situations. A little bit of shift, slip in, out, boom, he put him away. It was great to see. So, fight fans, listen, I can't wait for this fight right here. I don't hear enough people talking about it. Naoya Inoue, Tj Doheny. Don't forget, it's probably going to be on a Tuesday at 7 in the morning. That's when they'll broadcast that fight and stuff. Uh, so I can't wait for this fight because, like I said, there's a lot of announcements that the world is waiting for Naoya to see what he's going to do. He said a lot of things, but I know that plans can soon change and fighters could choose to do something else. So I've heard that he wanted to stay at 122 for maybe even a bit longer, and maybe he won't. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll jump up to 126 when he sees that with very little effort, he basically cleaned up the 122. I mean, for argument's sake, I would say just for argument's sake, MJ is the last person. Sam Goodman has made it abundantly clear he doesn't want to fight that guy. He's just cloud chasing, putting his name in the same sentence with Naoya Inoue, but he doesn't want to fight him. He doesn't want to risk losing. And who else is gonna fight Naoya Inoue? Davis, right? Where are we going with this, guys? Where are we going with this? None of those guys can beat him, bro. The only thing that he has that I think that will make dollars and cents and is a fight you could present in the United States. Because I want to see him out here. I got to admit, I want to see. And if he comes out here, right? I need that support. I need that love. I need those donations to start coming in. Because I got to get me, even if I got to rent out a hotel room in the mop closet, right? I'll take it. I'll take it, right? Right? I want to go see him. And hopefully I can get next to him to report and bring back. I know he doesn't speak English, but we'll do the interpreter thing. But if he goes to 126 is what I'm talking about. With fighters like Espinoza. I was gonna insinuate Robersi, but the only way he comes back into the conversation if he gets a belt. Even if Robersi was to go out and be like, let's say, Ray Vargas, right? He beat him or something, or even Bell, right? If he can do some shit like that, then he gets back in. But the only people's name that Naoya Inoue basically is going to be on is going to be a world champion. So what it's going to be basically boiled down to whether or not who's the champions when he gets up to 126 and who still has their belts. Espinoza just defended the belt and he has the WBO. And I've talked about this. That's Naoya Inoue's entrance to the 126, that WBO world title. So, yeah, when basically, so they're not going to be able to avoid him. It's just what champion's going to take it. And I think that they're better fights. You can put him against Espinoza in U.S. Espinoza has Mexican followers. Espinoza put on a great performance, his title defense against the number 2 contender in the world. Espinoza is on he's starting to pick up. I mean, it's not no pay-per-view shit, but with the Mexican fans, you never know, bro. You put Naoya Inoue's name to it, and that shit might just catch fire, that fight. And bring it to US and boop, there you go. Bell, I mean, he's and then he would have to go out there to fight him. Yeah, it really wouldn't be a fight in the US. Ray Vargas is another Mexican. I mean, the Mexicans are backing him. He's got he just might be bigger than Espinoza. I'm not too sure about that. Who's bigger, you guys think, for the Mexico population? Espinoza or Vargas? Who's like a bigger star for Mexico? You got any of you guys know that? Which one of them are bigger? You think has the bigger name that could sell the most tickets out of them two? Whichever one you name would be the one I would want to fight the Japanese superstar in America. Because I want to see him out here. I would go see him. Now, I want to see what that shit looks like up in person. Because I know this personally. It's one thing to watch a guy on TV, on your cell phone. You know what I mean? And it's another experience in entirety to buy a ticket and be there as a fan and watching them live in the ring. And then it's another thing entirety to be standing in front of them. I just don't want to be standing in front of him, right? Right? I don't mind sitting in the chair right there. I'm having a great time. I don't feel tired. I don't want to go to sleep. No. I'm well rested. I slept all day. Why would I want to be sleeping? No, put someone else in the ring with him. Knock him out. You know what I mean? Right? So no, but all jokes aside, I want to see him. I would like to see him. I got to see Michael Jordan. I got to see like a lot of great legends. Tom Brady, of course. Me being from Boston, I saw Tom Brady a few times on, in person, like right there. Tom Brady. There's Tom Brady. I was right here. Hey Tom, how you doing? You know what I mean? You know, I in one of the parades, this dude did some simple shit and got an autograph from Tom Brady. And I was so mad I didn't think about it, right? So they win a Super Bowl. I forget which Super Bowl it was. So we're there and the float's coming by and Tom Brady's coming by, right? So I had this trophy in my hand, in fact, and I came out in the newspaper with it. Me and my brother were in the trophy in the newspaper. I had this, and the lady took a picture of me because I had the Vince Lombardi trophy. In fact, this is the number one Super Bowl that Tom Brady ever won. The first one with the Rams. That's what this trophy is. It is his first one. So I would have loved for him to sign that, right? Tom Brady's coming by, and the fucking dude right next to me, he had a football and he had a magic marker with some duct tape on it. He threw the ball at Tom Brady. Tom Brady caught it, ripped the tape out with the magic, signed it, and threw it back to him. Simple, effective. I was pissed. I was like, yo, I wanted to throw the whole trophy at Tom Brady, but what I stopped, I didn't want to knock him out if something happened. You killed Tom Brady. Yo, they would kill me. Yo, I'd be like the Warriors. Yo, he did it. Yo, I had to run out of Boston saving my life and shit. Right. There'd be a DJ with some nice lipstick calling the shots. Edwin's running through the train station. I hope you make it home. There he goes. He killed Tom. Yo. Yo, I don't think I'll make it. Yo. Who are you guys talking about? When was this? Who did this? He took my wrench because I timed someone out for 10 seconds and the dude came back trolling and because I roasted him instead of kicking him out of the chat. Someone has been for YouTube market. And when you're going live tomorrow for the Floyd exhibition fight, yeah, probably so. I, I, I'll tune in and watch that. The only thing I don't like about Floyd when he does it, he acts silly before he starts turning it up. Like he starts like bouncing around, like going like this, like playing with the Japanese dude and shit, and then he'll like spark him, like you know what I'm saying? But Floyd doing all this, moving around like that, blah, 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 like I would like him to take it a little bit more serious because mocking your opponent in the ring while you're doing it sometimes it's not like always ideal. Like if you wanted us to even take you serious in exhibitions, well then treat it as serious as such. Playing around, what are you doing? Just in case you get knocked down, you would be like, "Oh, I was playing around." Nah, Floyd. So that's what I mean. And then, like the last fight with this Gotti situation, remember what happened, right? If my memory serves me correctly, weren't they disqualified for hugging? Right? I believe that's why the fight was stopped. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's why the fight was stopped. Right? They were like hugging and shit, and then like a brawl broke out. Like, um, they let him fight. Remember? Okay. See, because like the first fight, like he didn't fight into like the last round or something like that, where he started giving a better account. The people felt, which I watched the fight. He really didn't land anything. He didn't land shit. It was just the people got hyped because he had more activity in those few seconds than he did in basically the whole fight, right? So I believe the last fight was called because of fucking excessive holding. And then there was a brawl in the ring, So in this fight, I would just like Floyd to just come out, be serious about it, and just whoop his ass. Why do you always gotta be like playing around? Like, nah. Just do what you fucking paid to do, bro. And look good doing it. The tuba show? The front Nadamas. yo, listen, you ain't calling no fights frontline right now. You're not winning any of the fights, and Bam Bam Boogie's the champion right now. So he's like outdoing you right now a little bit frontline. So like kind of like, you're looking a little desperate right now. You know what I mean? You're trying to get that, notoriety when you're not calling these fights. You know what I'm saying? And you got Bam beating you by saying split decision. You know those split decision guys? You know what I mean? But he happened to call the fight. So we're going to have to acknowledge him as a world champion. But, you know, you're going to have to do some bam bam shit around here in order to get the belt off the shelf. In order, you know what I mean? For your name to get put up there, that's what you're going to have to do. But Bam Bam's reign is almost over, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be calling these fights. It's going to come to an end. I'm the new Notre Dame around here. I started all this. I created the belt. I'm going to show you guys how I get down. No messing around. So tune in and don't forget it. Listen, fight fans, that's all I got for you guys tonight. I wanted to hop on, chop it up with you guys, show them the belt, Edwin. I got to do this because when you're the champion, I didn't say it in the rule structures, but if you're the champion on Round One Sports Talk and you become the new Notre Dame's champion, whenever you ask to see the belt, I must bring it out for you. All right, we're gonna have to bring it out for Bam now. Bam! 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 Yo, listen. The pound for pound Notre Dame is Round One Sports Talk champion of the world is Bam Bam Boogie. You know it. You see his name right up there. Let's throw him up here because we got to put him up now because he wanted to see the belt. Bam. These are the benefits of being the Notre Dame's champion. Everyone gets your shout out and you get me to do this for you and give you a shout out. So there it is. The Notre Dame's champion, Bam Bam. Put some respect on his name. Put some respect on his name. There it is, bam. You only get one. Hey, yo, yeah, bam, bam, yo, my man. So that's what you get. You get the shout out, you get the belt, and leading into the next fight throughout the day, you get the right to at least ask one time, and I will put up your belt for you. So that's what it is. Those are the benefits here. Join us as we call these fights. Show me your boxing knowledge and your skills to be able to call the exact round. That's how we do it here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have been amazing. Thank you very much. On to the next one. After this one, here at Round One Sports Talk. Guys, please give the videos a like. Drop a comment down in the comment section. Share the videos. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And I'm out. Frontline, you got to put in that work. Yeah, Armando, my man. Woo!